Hello, today in my writing process playlist, I'm going to talk about my first draft and the beginning of it. So I am about 11 days into the drafting process, and I'll be honest with you, it hasn't gone very well. I'll get to why in a second, but for some context, I moved to Mexico recently. So in tandem with starting this drafting process, I'm also dealing with the chaotic nature of looking for an apartment and culture shock and everything else. So right now I've been moving from hotel to hotel, partly because I need privacy to record videos and things, but then I'm staying in hostels to save money because I don't, the hotels here are actually quite expensive, more than I thought they'd be in Mexico. I'm trying to save money kind of, little by little. So when I'm in the hostel, it's not very conducive to the writing process. I'll just say that. It's a lot of distractions. I'm just going to be transparent here. It's not the best way to start a novel. Having written a few, I know that the beginning is a very important time, and I don't really like the shakiness that this has started with. But hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll manage to hit my stride a little bit better. But currently I don't feel very grounded, which is expected under my circumstances. And I do think when you're writing, you do need, there are times you can go to a coffee shop and you can be out, but you do need a grounded situation, I think, to write well. Or at least your mind can't be thinking about all these other things. One other thing that you may not believe me on this, or you may, depending on how you see this kind of thing, but Mercury in retrograde started on November 25th, which is the day before I left South Korea, and it ends on December 15th, so there's 4 more days, and then there's usually some time after where there are lingering effects. I believe in this completely because I've seen it happen over and over and over again. If you don't know what Mercury in retrograde is, it is this chaotic time where communication breaks down, computers stop working. If you're trying to do any kind of project, you'll hit a lot of snags. If you're doing some kind of deal with someone, like a business deal, there'll be a lot of problems with it that need to be sorted out. It's just like a really bad time. And unfortunately, I should have known this. I should have looked before I planned this, but I didn't look. And it literally started right when my drafting started. So that was kind of bad luck. I should have looked. I do think it's having an effect. I should have been in an apartment probably a week ago or more. Just a lot of snags with all this stuff. But it's all kind of getting sorted out finally now. And we're going to see how that affects my next 10 days or so. But as far as the writing is concerned, like any other time that I'm doing a project like this, there's terror at the empty page. And I'm sure if you are a writer, you know that feeling. With all these other things on my mind, I've been kind of procrastinating. I need to do this, I need to do that. So many days writing is one of the last things I'm getting to, or it should be one of the first things I'm getting to. I have done it. It's just been a struggle. I've been using both my phone and my computer. The phone has come in handy when I'm on the go, which has been a lot because I've been looking for apartments and things. What I'll do often is I'll take my phone and put in a couple of prompts of things I need to be writing about, and then when I'm walking I can kind of talk and get some of that down. It's really good for train of thought kind of writing if you just want to ramble. Sometimes I'll lay in my bed when it's closer to bedtime and I'll just kind of talk about aspects of what I need to do for the book. Some of it will be actual writing, but some of it will be just things I need to get done. I think the best use of it is for dialogue. I found that it's much easier to get into the character and to just kind of talk out the scene. So when I get stuck, I often write the dialogue first. It's faster, and I think I think it's better to build your story based off the dialogue and then put in the descriptions and the action and everything else. It's easier to tell the story through it, I think. You could do that on a computer as well, but I found that the voice recognition on the computer isn't as good as the phone, in my experience. After I have the dialogue, I will send that to my Scrivener file, and then I will fill in the blanks or add the other parts, either the description or anything else. On my computer, I think that's kind of where I take everything, and it's almost like cooking. It's like my pot, you know, it's where everything gets mixed. And I also think it's better for when you're trying to do kind of deeper reflection, more poetic things, I think are better on the computer when you're typing. My mind works differently when I'm typing than when I'm speaking. So I think it's good to use both. And in my case, I have. So real quick, I'll show you my pacemaker output. As you can see here, yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit on track, barely, thanks to today, which I wrote 1,400 words today. But I did have a slip up on last Friday. That was kind of a chaotic day, and I was in the hospital that day, and it just wasn't good. But as you can see, I started out kind of weak. That was when I first got here, and I had a lot of things to do. So typically when I'm starting a first draft, I like to start strong. I like to get ahead of it, and that way if I slip up later, I'm ahead of the game. Well, this time it's not going to be that way. I'm barely hanging on at the moment. I've gotten 12% of the first draft written, which is encouraging. In the Excel file, I have my chapters and how much I've completed of them. This is actually one of the first times where I'm really just writing it in order. A lot of times I've written the end first or some other part, and I do have little bits and pieces that I've put down already. I think for this project there's so many details, especially in terms of the Eleusis rites, that I have to kind of build it, and I don't really know how else to write this. I kind of have to write it in chronological order, at least so far. There may come a point where I get stuck, and in that case I might have to jump to a different chapter to solve the problem. But so far it's been pretty linear. As you can see, my chapter 1 and chapter 5 are 90% done, but I moved on from them because I just couldn't figure out how to end the chapters. I will go back to that at some point. And I'm currently writing chapter 6, but chapter 6 is quite a slog. I mean, I think right now it's about 3,000 words, which is pretty heavy. And I'll probably have that finished by tomorrow. I'm showing you the pacemaker in the Excel. If you haven't seen my video on how I set these up, you can check that out. The link is below. Yeah, that's about all I got. Hopefully my next 10 days will be more productive and I'll get a little bit ahead of the game. The reason why I worry about that is because I think the first half, you know, it's not that hard to do 900 words or however many words you're doing a day and keep up with that, but then there becomes a point where it does wear on you to do it every single day. And the way I have my documents set up, it is every day. I don't have any breaks. Now, I'm going to take breaks. I took last Friday, but I'm not going to take them like structured. I don't want to take my weekends off because I'd rather just write on the weekends and try to get ahead. So we'll see. Yeah, that's all I got. I'll probably touch back in a couple weeks with the next 10 days, and we'll see how that goes. Take care. Have a good one.